Y'all already know what today is, and if you don't, I'm going to give you a little history lesson on what we're celebrating. So during the 1800s, the North and the South were not on the same page. The North saw an increase in manufacturing, which led to a decrease for the need for slave laborers. The South, full of land and plantations, however, needed someone to pick their cotton, tobacco, indigo, as well as the rice. This harsh labor was carried out by enslaved men, women, and children. These people were not seen as human, but property. You had to work long, extreme hours under harsh conditions, and if you dared to run away, the punishment would be unthinkable. The North wasn't rocking with this anymore, and they felt that slavery was purely evil and inhumane. From that, the abolition movement began to grow. We saw prominent leaders like Frederick Douglass, William Lloyd Garrison, and John Brown start to speak out against slavery and wanting to end it and to give the people civil rights. The North began enacting laws like a tax on cotton, which affected the South, and South Carolina wasn't with it, and they refused to abide by these laws. The South didn't care that chattel slavery was seen as evil or seen as inhumane, because to them, we were just property. So under Lincoln's presidency, the South argued that they didn't want to be a part of the United States anymore. So they split off and they formed the Confederate States. These states were Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, Florida, South and North Carolina, Virginia, Washington, and Tennessee. On April 12, 1861, the South Carolina militia decided to attack Fort Sumter, thus starting the Civil War. January 1st, 1863, President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation announcing that all persons held as slaves shall be free. With that, 4 million enslaved men, women, and children were free into this world. And that is being free. That whole being free after you done been, your education had been stripped away from you, your identity been stripped away from you, your religion, your spirituality, your children, your family. Freedom was very different because it wasn't an aha glorious moment. The big bad rebel Texas was like, hell no, we ain't freeing nobody, and we ain't following this Emancipation Proclamation. It is what it is. 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, Texas refused to free the enslaved men, women, and children. And so General Gordon Granger and his troops, along with African American men known as the United States Colored Troops, had to march through Galveston, Texas, heavily armed, to issue the Executive Order 3, which was a decree immediately abolishing slavery, and freed about 250,000 people. That was June 19, 1865. And although the Confederacy lost this fight, they still refused to let go of the ideology of slavery. Those southern states that desperately needed power needed to rewrite history as well. And they adopted the lost cause mythology. They wanted to prove that we really weren't killing and stealing and raping and chattel slavery. It wasn't all that bad. You know, we had happy slaves. They really tried to paint over the fucked up stuff that they did. And from this came the daughters and the sons of the Confederacy. You see, they stated that their intention was to, and I quote, tell of the glorious fight against the greatest odds a nation ever faced, that their hallowed memory should never die. It gotta be cracked. Because to them, slavery was all good. It wasn't even that bad. But despite the ignorance that continued to plague society, Black people actually started to thrive, and this was considered the Reconstruction era from 1865 to 1877. Although Black people started to be innovative and celebrate each other and grow and build, that did not stop racism. But despite the hate and continuous racism from white people, Black people continued to celebrate Juneteenth. We celebrated our accomplishments, innovations, and our Black excellence that for so long was overshadowed by hate, racism, and rewriting of our history. In 2016, Oprah Lee, an activist in Fort Worth, Texas, set out to make Juneteenth an official national holiday. In 2021, President Biden signed the legislation making Juneteenth a federal holiday. Happy Juneteenth, y'all.